All rise. We will obey. Please be seated.
Thank you very much, witness. Welcome back. Mr. Hooper. Thank you very much, witness. Welcome back. Mr.
Document. And it has certain names on it. And you may remember the page I'm looking at, there's at the top it says locations, and beneath that there's another list headed persons, and it's the persons list I have occasional reference to, all right? And because I want to talk about the two houses that were burnt down, say you witnessed. The first of those belonged to person number 4, because we're in open session, and the second house belonged to the person number 5. And you dealt with this in your evidence, which is transcript 99 at page 25. And you may remember that you spoke there about what happened to you and what you were doing on the 1st of January. Now, I'm not going to go into all that history that you've told us. I'm just looking at this issue of the burning of the houses. You told us how you were hid in a bush and 3 or 4 meters in front of you were these people. And at that time you were at house number 4, and then they went off and they set light to the house at number 5. Do you remember telling us all that? And at that time you were at house number 4, and then they went off and they set light.
Mr. Hooper, you mean person number 4 and house of person number 5? Okay.
Can you say a word, yes or no, into the microphone?
Ndiyo, nilisema.
Thank you very much. Now, yes. Now, what time did that happen?
Witness, just if you remember the time, just give that information. Let's not go into a long story that may identify you, who you are. Just he's asked you the time.
Namba 4 ilikuwa ni saa 7. Saa 7 ikielekea na nusu hapo, saa 7 tu na nusu hapo hivyo. Sikuwa na saa, lakini nakumbuka ilikuwa ni lunch hour.
And indeed, as I remember, you in fact had told us how you'd gone home and you'd had lunch with you'd had lunch. That's right, isn't it? This was after you'd eaten lunch. Is that right?
Ndiyo, nilipata lunch.
And is that right?
Ndiyo, nilipata lunch.
Belonging to the house belonging to number 4 is burnt first, and then the house is burnt. Between the house belonging to number 4 being burnt before the house belonging to number 5 was burned.
Kutoka kwa nyumba namba 4 walichukua karibu dakika 15 wakaelekea kwa nyumba namba 5 na kulingana na statement yangu, kama kuna mtu anaweza soma kulingana na nilivyopeana ushuhuda wangu, walichukua muda kitambo wachome nyumba namba 5 kwa sababu walikuwa wavute gate warudi wapore.
Indeed, and we can remember, I'm sure, what you said about that. Indeed, when you made your statement, of course, you had those 2 houses being burnt down on the 2nd of January. And it was only last week that you made corrections to your statement and said, no, that was the 1st of January. That's right, isn't it? On the 2nd of January. And it was only last week that you made corrections.
Mwanzo wa statement yangu nilisema tarehe 1. Kama kulikuwa na maybe utafsiri ulipitana, nilisimama kwa tarehe 1 kwa sababu ndio najua.
Yes, just listen to the question, and I'm sure if I fair in any way in terms of summarizing the position, I'll be corrected. When you made your statement over many days, you said there that the looting and burning of Kikuyu and Kisai houses, and I won't specify further the specific location which is mentioned, was on the 2nd of January 2008. So that's what you said when you saw the prosecution, when you made your statement in 2013. Sorry, 2012. And then last week, when you went through that statement at length with the prosecution, you corrected that to what your account is now. And you said, well, it wasn't the second, it was the first. Do you remember making that correction last week? To what your account is now. And you said, well, it wasn't the second, it was the first. Do you remember making that?
Yangu sijaienda through last week, na nilipoenda ina kasoro. Kwa hivyo mimi msimamo wangu, nyumba zilichomwa tarehe 1 kwa sauti yangu, hivyo ndivyo inasema.
Now, let me put my position to you, and that is this. I agree with you that both those houses was burnt on the 1st of January. I agree with you. But I suggest that the house belonging to person number 4 was burnt early in the morning, and the house belonging to number 5 was burnt on the same day, but in the evening. So I'm suggesting there's about 10 hours time difference between those two houses being burnt, not 15 minutes or so. Do you understand? That's what I suggest. I suggest you weren't there, you see.
Nafikiria sikuelewi.
Let me put again. I'm saying that the first house belonging to number 4, that was burnt in the morning. And the second house that's there, belonging to number 5, that house was burnt in the evening. And there was about 10 hours of time difference between the two houses being torched. The second house that's there, belonging to number 5, that house was burnt in the evening. And there was
nyumba ya kwanza ilichomwa saa 7 na nyumba ya pili ilichomwa jioni, sababu sikusema ilichukua dakika 15 kuchoma ile nyumba nyingine. Nafikiri nilisema ilichukua dakika 15. Waliteketeza hiyo nyumba, walichukua dakika 15. Labda sikueleweka vizuri. Statement ya pili nilisema wale waliteketeza nyumba sio mchana, kwa sababu hata vile nilisema hatukuweza, ilikuwa ni jioni na sio masaa 10, kwa sababu mimi niliona haikumaliza masaa.
Yes. Well, you may remember what you told us was that after lunch you were hiding in the bush when the house belonging to number 4 was set alight, and then the second house, and that was at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you remember telling us that?
Ndio, ni huo muda wa saa 10:12 kwa sababu sikuwa na saa mimi, lakini nilipima saa ya Mwafrika, najua ni saa 12, saa 11, saa 10 hapo. Kwa sababu walichukua muda mrefu kupora kwanza ndio warudi kwa chome. Afrika najua ni saa 12, saa 11, saa 10 hapo. Kwa sababu walichukua muda mrefu.
Now, you may remember that after house had been torched, you told us about a telephone conversation that took place between a Kissy person and number 9. Can we just look at number 9 on the list? Can I ask you, madam, to look at number 9 on the list in front of you? Do you see the reference there to number 9?
Number wasn't being interpreted correctly, so if we could make sure that the witness is understanding exactly who Mr. Hooper is referring to.
Yes, thank you for that.
Mr. Hooper, while you're doing that, also consider, unless you're doing this on purpose, that we did scribble in a certain, person.
I just noticed that, yes. So looking at your list, after the two houses, this is on your story, are set alight, you're hiding in the bush, and there's a telephone conversation between one of you in the bush, whose name appears at number 12. It's been written in. He's the Kissy person. And the person whose former occupation is listed at number 9. Do you remember telling us that?
Ndio.
Occupation is listed at number 9. Do you remember telling us that?
Ndio nilisema.
Now, you haven't mentioned this at all in your evidence, but if I look at your statement, and I go to paragraph 126, I'm not trying to confuse you, but because I appreciate it's difficult sitting there listening to this. What you say there, and again I summarise it to make it easier, is that on the 1st of January, you met number 9. So it's not a telephone conversation, you actually meet him. Is that right? You met number 9.
Nafikiria hiyo ilikuwa ni era, kwa sababu hata huyo Isa hakuna mahali mimi nilionana na yeye kwa statement yangu, na nilisema alitumia mtu namba 12 kumpigia simu, na namba 12 ndio alikuwa ana communicate na yeye. Hakuna mahali mimi nilisema nimejaribu ama nimekutana na mtu namba 9. Hata leo ukiniuliza mtu namba 9 alikuwa amefanana namna gani, siwezi kukuambia.
Thank you very much. Don't That's very helpful. Thank you. So let me just read some parts. Thank you very much. Don't and I'll start of 126, and I'll be careful not to read in. It might identify you. And in your statement, you say that this is on the 2nd of January, okay? On the 2nd of January, that's at paragraph 120 onwards. You're talking about the 2nd of January in your statement. True. And you said the officer commanding the police station.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
Well, we've been in closed session, and what I put to you is the telephone number that you had, having obtained it with your identification card, shows that from the 27th of December to the 19th of January 2008, that used only in Western Province, Transnistria, and not ever in Kapsabet. And as you know, I put to you that that was your phone that you were using, and demonstrates that you weren't even in Kapsabet, the post-election violence. And you've said that's not right, that you were in Kapsabet. Now, in respect of the police station, can you confirm that the officer commanding the station was Samuel Githua, Guthiirwa, who was Kikuyu? Is that right? That's the officer commanding the station in Kapsabet in the year 2007-2008. Can you confirm that, yes or no?
Sidhani ni ukweli, kwa sababu najua Veuri mimi mwenyewe alikuwa ni customer yangu na hakuwa mkubwa wa polisi. Mkubwa wa polisi alikuwa ni Mduya. Veuri,
just listen to me. Just listen.
Na hakuwa mkubwa wa polisi. Mkubwa wa polisi alikuwa ni Mduya.
He was a Luya. So I suggest, and can you agree with me, that the officer commanding the station, Githua, above him, the officer division was a Luya. Can you confirm that, yes or no?
Hapana, sijui.
Can we please just have up fairly quickly the photograph at KEND 090031 0084, and it's public. Sorry, tab 31. Madam Witness, do you recognise the gentleman in the photograph? Yes or no?
Mimi simjui. Mimi simjui.
Well, you may. He was the officer who coordinated all the IDPs in Capsip police station. He was the man responsible for bringing them in, for their welfare at the station, and for sending them off to other safe places. You don't recognise him. And I suggest that was because you were never in the police station. He was the man responsible for bringing them in, for their welfare at the station, and for sending them off to other safe.
Nataka kuelezea kwa ufafanuzi. Na askari mmoja aliyekuisha watu, hakuna askari mmoja aliyetengwa kwa kitengo cha kusema yeye ndiyo anasafirisha watu. Isitoshe, wakati huyu jamaa civilians huwezi kumjua na akiwa amevaa uniform. Kwa hivyo nakumbuka askari ambao walitusindikisha na ninawajua.
I see. Can you please look at another photograph for me, and that's at KEN D09 0031-0088. And just, can we go into private session, just very briefly?
Private session.
And for the showing of the photograph too, please. Right, now in private session, I just want to summarise putting to you in a general way, and that is that you were not in Capsibit at the time from the 27th of December, and that in fact your children were left there, were taken into, were looked after by a neighbour when the violence started. That neighbour took them into the bush and hid in the bush with them, then took them to the police station, where she met up with your brother, the other brother and his children and wife, and that all of them were then later taken, with the exception of one, I won't go into details, to Eldred Showground. And at no time ever there. And you didn't get to Eldred Showground until much later in January, because all the roads, of course, had been closed from Western. And you've come here and you've lied about your story. That's right, isn't it?
A witness now. Some of those things Mr. Hooper has put to you now, you've already responded to one by one in closed session. Now, But he's saying that your evidence that you came and lied. Can you respond to that? You don't have to argue. You just have to tell him whether or not you agree with him that you lied. He's saying you lied to us. What's your response to that?
Ni hapana.
Well, those are all my questions, Madam Witness.
Response to that.
Good night.
A witness, that concludes the questions from Mr. He's done asking you questions, but we're not done with you. You will rejoin us on Monday at 9:30, and that will be Mr. Keegan Katwa's turn to ask you questions. The court will now adjourn for the day. Please, over the weekend, do not discuss your testimony with anybody, because you're still a witness in the case, and you're still... You understand? I see you're nodding. Thank you. We will bring the blinds down and usher the witness out of the courtroom, and the court will adjourn.